And Nancy Durham discovered the truth.
I returned to Kosovo in June, 3 days after the arrival of KFOR, NATO's Kosovo force. It was a thrilling time, and suspenseful too. I'd heard nothing reliable about the people I had come to know in Shala, a village I haven't named until now. During the war, I was asked not to. The people wanted to protect their Kosovo Liberation Army run hospital. Ah, here's some KLA. Did the KLA hold this area during the war?
A ka mojt këto pozicione UÇK-ja gjatë luftës.
Okej, po. Ja.
Dito na mirror. I have returned to Shala not only to find out who survived and to see how they managed to, but to try to find out more about one person in particular. During the war, it was impossible to move freely, therefore difficult to get the answers to all my questions. I'm looking for Raimonda Thaci. I met her for the first time a year ago in Shala's KLA hospital. I was told she was being treated for trauma, having witnessed the killing of her sister, apparently by Serbs in an attack on her village.
And she's anemic as well.
And maybe I will be a part of the Kosovo Liberation Army, because that's the only way for us, except if the world help us.
The next time I saw Raimonda, last December, it was at the KLA's mountain headquarters in Dranica. She was dressed for her new part and vowing to die for Kosovo's independence.
It's a Kalashnikov, and it's just like one member of my family. This is for me everything.
Raimonda's story was riveting. Everyone could understand her wish to avenge her sister's killing. I asked her about my visiting Cendresa's grave.
Even I don't know what it is.
What does it mean to you that she died?
It's hard. It's too hard. Really, really hard.
When we parted that winter night, I had doubts about Raimonda's ability to survive. But I had underestimated Raimonda. In June, I found her still on the mountain. This 19-year-old girl had made it through war.
Yes.
She was staying at the KLA's logistics house and still a soldier, but on her day off. And for the first time, she had time. I stayed the night, Raimonda talking me through the last months of war.
What kind of house? Here, we slept 12 girls. And in all these houses, 66 we was. We slept just like sardines in this way. And all.
She showed me how she spent her leisure time between battles.
Oh, you want to go to the beach?
Yeah. When you think about something, then you're right about that.
Raimonda seemed more like a child to me than a battle-hardened soldier.
When you see all those that we saw, all these massacres, all the people, when you see the people that they don't have to eat, they all are burned, the houses, and they stay only in the land. They don't have nothing, nothing. Then you take a power and you go to them, and you don't have time to think that you kill them, man or something else. You only want to kill him, because you know what he done to your family. And for me, all the people from Kosovo, not only for me, for us, all the people of Kosovo are our family.
Do you think about your sister?
I'm thinking about her, but I told you, I said one time, you have to lose something that you love, you really love, to have the freedom.
Raimonda may have won her freedom, but she still belonged to the KLA. She was both loyal soldier and teenage girl, and she'd begun to open up a little. Raimonda admitted she hid things from me, that in fact she already was a member of the KLA when we first met. What else was there to this elusive girl?
Hey, we have a problem.
What's that?
I have to go somewhere.
Without me?
Without you.
Why?
Because the rules are the rules.
The war was over, but Raimonda was still an obedient soldier.
Ako ne volim da... Kaljoš mir.
Last December, I had wanted to go to Raimonda's village to gather all the details I could to try to understand a young girl who'd lost her innocence so tragically. But Raimonda asked me not to go there. She said she was afraid it could endanger her family if I went to them. It seemed a reasonable request. It was a very tense time. But in June, with the retreat of the Yugoslav army, it was at last safe for me to visit her home in Skenderaj. I wasn't optimistic about finding anyone at home because Raimonda had told me her family was now in Albania. But this wasn't to be true. I found Raimonda's mother, Baria, at home along with two other daughters, 2-year-old Ilirida and, to my astonishment, Raimonda's 9-year-old sister, Chandrasa, the sister who was supposed to be dead. I was shocked, but Raimonda's mother offered a novel explanation. There was a murdered sister, she said, but Raimonda got her name wrong. It was Defina who died. I spent an awkward hour. We looked at the family album. I saw Raimonda as a toddler on a Montenegrin beach holiday, but there was no trace of Defina. I had a sinking feeling. Perhaps there never was a Defina. Perhaps there was no murdered sister at all. Had I been used for the cause? 6 weeks later, in August, I got my chance to find out. I returned to Kosovo to confront Raimonda. I found her still near Shala, but at another KLA base.
I lied this time.
To me?
Yeah, I lied to you.
Raimonda admits she lied about Chandrasa, but claims it didn't start out as a lie. She says she was misinformed.
In the beginning, it was a mistake because I spoke when I was not sure. I believed that my sister, she's been killed when I was not sure. But I believed in that because I knew that we are in war, and in war happen everything.
So why didn't Raimonda put the record straight on my subsequent visits?
I think about that, and I said to myself, why I have to tell her that my sister is alive, when there are so many girls and mothers who lost the children, who lost the sisters, who lost the family, and they don't have a chance to give the interview.
Raimonda doesn't give herself all the credit for her strategy. She claims the doctors at the field hospital encouraged her to lie. Shpetim Robai was one of those doctors. He was killed shortly after I met Raimonda, when his Red Cross vehicle hit a landmine. But Fitim Salimi, the KLA doctor who treated Raimonda in September and then took me up the mountain to find her in winter, did survive the war. He appeared completely taken aback by the story when I found him in Pristina in his new role as director of hospitals for all of Kosovo. He insisted this was the first he knew of any lie.
I është dok pak puna që po e bën ajo. Edhe për me tregu ndoshta që për Kosovën kam bë më shumë, e ka shprehur atë se e kam humbë edhe motrën, ndoshta ka qenë gjendje prej dëshirës që tregoj se kemi bon, edhe jem të përjetu shumë, ka qenë gjendje ndoshta me thonë edhe kam humbë edhe dikant tjetër e tjerë.
I said to myself, she is just a journalist. She lives in England, and she don't care about us. They don't care about us, how we live and how we die. They are coming here just to make interview for their career and for their interests.
Po nervoz. Na se unë kam e marrë se ti ki ditë kësaj, na. Në shkin. In August, Raimonda returned to Skenderai with me to see her family. Cendresa, now with her hair cut short, oblivious to the story about her death, but fascinated with the photos of her soldier sister. Pictures from our encounter last winter on the mountain. And pictures from long ago.
I just wish to be again a little girl. I want to be a happy child, happy kid like I was.
A happy child like Cendresa, perhaps, whose supposed murder had been the foundation of Raimonda's story, a story that had played around the world in at least a dozen countries, and each time it was told, it reported Cendresa's death. I wondered how Raimonda's father, Aslan Retzi, feels about his daughter being used in propaganda.
Nuk kena mënu me bo kërfar propagande, me gjithë që në çdo mënyrë kundër serbëve të dashur me luftu. Në çdo mënyrë, edhe me propagandë të tillë. Mirë po, kjo nuk ka qenë vetëm rastisht se nuk ka qenë kërfar propagande e qëllimshme.
I'm glad that it was effective in one condition. If this was not my story, this story belonged to someone else here. The same story belonged to someone else here.
I have reflected on the 5 days I spent with Shpetim Robai in September 1998, the week before he died, the week I first met Raimonda. Could he have played a part in this, like Raimonda claims? One afternoon, he and I stood here, just a few meters from where he'd soon be buried. We watched villages burn in the distance. Kosovo was on fire, but the story dominating the news was the Clinton-Lewinsky affair. To many Kosovar Albanians, it seemed the outside world had forgotten them. Ilir Tolai thought it had. He was Shpetim's close friend and colleague. 1 year ago, he appealed to the West to intervene. He's never met Raimonda, except on videotape, but he admits he's impressed with her performance.
So if this lie, I don't know if it's small or big, maybe from my point it's small, from the point of the journalist it's very big and unacceptable, but if this small lie, from my point of view, made some kind of impact on accelerating what West country did in Kosovo, then it's worth.
The fact is that Raimonda didn't need a story about a dead sister to explain her motivation. She was born here in Drenica, in the very place where 18 years later the war would begin. The first fires of Kosovo's war were set here in Prekaz, just a short walk from Raimonda's home. In March 1998, Serb forces launched an attack against what they called Albanian terrorists. It was the assault which alerted the world to the Kosovo conflict. Children were among the 53 members of the Ashari clan who died.
My best friend was in the same class. And when the Asharis has been killed, I went in Prekaz. I saw the victims and I saw her. And when I saw her, then I said to myself, no, it's the moment I'm gonna take the gun and I'm gonna become a member of KLA.
How do I know that story's true?
Oh, you will find it. It's easy.
Of course, finding the truth here is not at all easy. I chose to cover the war in Kosovo by following the people I had come to know through Špetim Robai. It's hard for me to believe he played any witting part in perpetrating Raimonda's lie. In fact, he often corrected fellow Kosovars when they told exaggerated stories of suffering. He helped me to get started on telling the story of war through the eyes of ordinary people. It was partly because of his death that I wanted to return to those he'd introduced me to, and it's by returning repeatedly to Kosovo that I uncovered Raimonda's lie. But hers is just one. How many other lies will remain buried? For News World Reports, I'm Nancy Durham in Kosovo.
Nancy Durham's documentary, The Truth About Raimonda. When Newsworld Reports returns, we'll explore that truth a little further with a panel discussion on the nature of truth and propaganda and the role of journalism in wartime. And Nancy Durham will be here to take part in that discussion. Don't go away.
0 to your heart in 1.
Durham. Joining us from London is Tim Judah. He's an expert on the Balkans and author of the respected book, The Serbs, History, Myth, and the Destruction of Yugoslavia. In Washington is Jonathan Landay, who's a foreign correspondent for the Christian Science Monitor. Nancy, let me begin with you. Tell me, after this experience now, and I know you've lived with this story for weeks, if not months, how will this change, if at all, the way you do what you do?
I've had weeks to consider that. I think it isn't going to change the way I work, but I'm always going to have Raimonda there reminding me that there could be another one out there. But I can't see that I would have done this particular assignment differently.
Why not?
Because I pursued every detail I could in every way I could. And working in a war zone means a lot of the time is spent arranging the work that you want to do as a reporter, the driving, the traveling. You can't get down this road because of a checkpoint on either side in the conflict. You can't go here because it's mined. The phones don't work. Someone's afraid if you speak to them it might harm their family. So there are many things in your way. So you just pursue and pursue until you finally get the detail you need. Well, that's what happened to me. I got a detail I didn't need, but I'm glad I did find out the truth about Raimonda.
I know that and you've written about this as well as told this television documentary, that one line sticks with me, and you talked about the truth as far as circumstances will allow. And I suppose that's what every journalist